50 metres to go, joined by Rockin' Horse and now Private Eye. The heavily backed Private Eye takes the lead from Rockin' Horse, the astrologist, and then Baller. But it's Private Eye surging away, back for a stack and bolts in.
Welcome to Bet Doctor, behind the curtain look at how pro punters operate. I'm your host, Scoot. I'm in studio with the semi-final winner, Johnny Walter. A few TV shows this week. What? Today program, done the media roundup.
Mate, all I've got to do all your work for you. I've got to do all the promo videos. I've got to do everything. You just do nothing. You just sit there and wait for me to tweet and just hit the retweet button. It's embarrassing.
Pull up all right?
No. Horrendous. Crook for 2 days. You food poisoned me on Sunday and then, whatever. Well, we'll be back. Lucky we've got the 2 week turnaround.
Were you sick off Sunday?
Eh?
You sick off Sunday?
No, I was crook from the day before. I think I forgot to eat and drink. It was something to do with standing up, not eating, not drinking for 12 hours.
Hats Aiken tipped you the Hong Kong special, the shirt in the bath.
Yeah, I still haven't really worked it out, but I did.
Feel good?
I tell you what it does do. It steams you up. If you want to lose weight a bit quicker, you just get the shirt on the bath. Maybe the jockeys can use it, but I do think they jump in there in fucking sweatsuits. They are psychopaths.
DK might need to put the shirt on and jump in the bath. How are you, DK?
Oh, yeah.
More worried about the toaster in the bath. But anyway.
After yesterday, thanks, Ollie. That was big. And especially when you're beaten by one, you take backed on the last start, back at next start of 20s, but that's my life. But no, I got an idea for a stream for you, Scoot. I don't know if you saw the Launceston results last night and fucking racing.com and all this and Nico and everything. He's just next stream. I want to back maximum shares. I want to be on Nico at Launceston, Scoot, night racing at Launceston. Whenever they do that, organise one of them because it's just going to be a fill up after last night. Nico's 5 winners. I tuned in. He said, I've got him on some 40-1 chance in race 6. Cheery, don't will you? So I watched it. Dead set, just sool to the front. What was about 2 in front on the turn? Just the 2 favourites ran over it late. It was huge, Nico. Mate, well done. It was great shooting last night, especially in a jurisdiction you're probably not, you're only going to get better at.
Yeah, thanks, DK. Yeah, I just sort of defaulted to the on paces and it seemed to work last night. So maybe that's the play with the Launceston Knights. That might be the play with all the night racing. Cranbourne, Moonee Valley, Launceston, they're just all mad leaders highways, aren't they? So, yeah, it wasn't a bad night out.
Well, I was just looking at my I was just looking through my stuff. I backed, say, 3 winners lately on the synthetic. 2 of them landed outside lead. One of them was going to land outside lead and soared to the front. I backed 3 bad losers the last week. Guess where they've all landed? In the shithouse. So just default position is just an on pace. We just say it all the time. Even back to the old mate Gary Roberts days. Just find the leaders, find the on paces, let's just keep doing it. The run on jobs, mate. They just, like we saw yesterday, Ollie just ran up asses from wherever, anyway, go on.
That was grim.
Yeah, it was grim. Anyway, Scoot.
It's actually not a bad idea, that. Like it'd probably be bad to put up like a stream, put people into it. But if you say threw 1,000 in each and just filmed it, and you can't have your home state, you put in some obscure meeting and you just got to go head to head, like you get Darwin, I get bloody Kalgoorlie, and you just go, it can't be your home territory.
There you go.
It's something like that, Then you
state of origin and everyone's playing away.
Yeah, you got to show a bit of
flair.
Yeah, flair.
Don't mind it.
Yeah.
Don't mind it. Might put it out.
Even trots or dogs, who cares? Let's just go. Bet. Just bet.
Dartboard, blindfold dartboard.
I'd love it. It'd be awesome.
Oh, if you're asleep on Saturday, the big news out of Saturday was Johnny Walter defeated Mark Lambourne and Johnny McLeod defeated Anthony Don. We've got a little graphic up on the screen if you're watching it on YouTube, but started off with 20k each. Walt took his bank to $51,001. Nice little poker sort of play there, leaving the dollar there in case they finished on a level amount. Donnie didn't have that sort of intel. His bank landed on 20,000 neat, but crushing victory over the Racing Rant on 29,000 and a half there almost. So Walt goes through to the final, and then MacBet won by about 2,000 over the Don. He sort of just blew himself up late, Don. If he had a not bet late, he would have... He
showed a bit of Titans, didn't he? Where he sort of just he found a way not to win. and Johnny McLeod was just up the middle, solid. And I was a bit of south. I just kept passing to Latrell and hoping he just burst through and just eventually found a gap.
I found it, I don't know if you tuned into it, DK, and Nico, obviously you're on course, but the last hour was pretty nerve-wracking. I was in the host chair and I was sort of sweating bullets for the guys participating. Did you see any of it, DK, or have you watched the replay?
I tuned in late. Yeah, I tuned in late, very late, Scott. I saw the Lambourne bet up late, but I also saw those Queensland blokes, be $3.50 each of 2, and they'd back them both. That's how they bet up there, fair dinkum.
The Quinella. And wasn't it? Did they back them both and the
and the
Quinella?
Quinella as well. Was it?
Yeah, that's how they do it up in your neck of the woods, right? I couldn't sleep. They do. They've got to wear pants, not skirts. So anyway, no wonder there was just a little drink there.
Johnny Mac did back a 12-1 winner there somewhere early in the day, didn't he? I think that was. Yeah, he backed that Soothsayer or something early in the day.
Into $11.
Looked like it was going to win by a neck and dead set one by a nose, didn't it? It was. It's hard to back a winner, isn't it?
He'll probably have to quadruple his stake if he's going to knock you off in the final. I would have thought on those sort of. He's going to have to find a couple of middle pinners.
Yeah.
I actually going it's weird. He sort of just chipped away all day because I thought he must have nearly struggled. He must have turned over like 20 on the dot.
He's a bit like the Wall, isn't he? Like he'll just sit there and just play defence like all day. I would have thought. And
I think that's what they do all year. To be fair, I think that's what they do. They literally like bloody what's his name? Boycott, bloody Jeff Boycott, just there with the straight bat all day. I don't really have that. I got the 1 inch wide bat and just trying to hit sixes. Fuck.
So yeah.
Well, you hit one with Private Eye. That was a outstanding tip, I thought. And the market came with you late.
The blinds got. What about in the morning? Like I haven't backed it myself. I'm sitting there texting Scoot like a madman. What can I have on this? $8. What can I have on it? $7. He's just there. He had the bat out, straight. We've got to wait till the things fill. Got to wait till. And I'm just watching it disintegrate while I'm not on it myself, ready to put my head through a wall. And Tristan then went the old $4.60 on the $6 call to really make me feel good about life. Like I really thought I could build into it, but lucky it got back out of it.
I saved you, didn't I?
How'd you save me?
Well, you were going to have 5,000 by 20,000 surefire, so you would have lost.
I was just throwing off.
Right.
Hey?
He's good.
What about Maximal when it just camped up there? Oh, God, that would have been... The Maximal Private Eye was a suburb. It was a suburb.
DK, Stables in and out of form. Your old mate's Griffiths de Kock.
Yeah, I thought this was worth a mention, Scoot. That's why I asked you to put on the run sheet. Something I've noted, I've sunk the boots in and I've been a 5% cam for a long time, Nico. And I backed back in early August. I had a bet in a race down at Sale and I backed the Nick Ryan Steamer and it went horrible, of course. And this thing of de Kock's led all the way. And look, there's a $400,000 body Frankel filly, which has subsequently run third in the Oaks trial. And I know, geez, okay. Next sale meeting, or the sale meeting after, there's 1,400 metre maiden, some dream hour thing come and went whooshka and rolled the favourite, first up 1,400. The next race, something first up at 1,600, got on the fast pace and kept going. I thought, what's going on here? Something's changed in this joint. Something's changed. And then, anyway, I know it was low meeting Wangaratta Sunday, but they had a treble. One of them was first up off a Picnics. And goes there and wins first up, and then they had that thing win the first race yesterday. It was a bit of a low race, but it still won. So I just went and had a look at the stats, and I said, so they're normally going at 5 or 6%. That's what I've always said. Now they're 5 or 6% cam. Well, they're going at 20% their last 50 runners, and then the Baron put out yesterday they're 5 winners from their last 16 runners with 2 seconds. So I just had a big more think about it and had a look at some stuff, and I reckon. So what's happened is I reckon Mike de Kock is one of the leading trainers in the world. He's put a heap of money in the joint, right? So he's gone. He's all these new young horses they got. He's in the ownership. Okay, like he's the one first started out. Him and Jane Chapel-Heim in it. Like that trainer from UK.
Yeah.
So they're in it, and 200,000, 300,000. They've gone and spent $3 million at the Melbourne Premier Sales this year, which he'd be fronting up a lot of that. And I'm tipping he's gone like in the old footy racing parlance where they do a review. I'd say you're not training a lot of winners, Matt and Rebby. What's going on? I'd say he's gone and had a look at the joint. So the things have changed. The horses are going, they're ready to go first up. And then I had a look at the stats, and first up, they're actually very profitable. So there's still stats, not much the other side, but just from the old times of still not training many. But no, now it's.
So what do you reckon from like a form point of view, treat them like new season? Kind of look at their stats for this season?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this season. Yeah, punting form this season on punting form, go to that. And then if you like them first up, they're ready to go first up. Okay, they're ready to go. They're very profitable first up. So, you dive into stats you can look at overall stats. Like another joint, like I can't cop McAvoy, right? So McAvoy's got these grouse stats, all this, and the two of I've backed lately of him just completely legless. Same. And you try backing him and catching him, then I'd look at his stats today. So he's trying to he's got he's one of the best overall strike rates, but 40 of his winners are coming 2 joints: Ballarat Synthetic and Murray Bridge. 0 from 45 at Flemington. 1 from 30 at Caulfield, stuff like this. So you got to have a deep dive. But anyway, I just saw that scoot. So they're in. Bazuston's still out. I mean, someone saw Starry Ann went over at $1.40 the other day, typical Trent. Of the big stables, he's got all these nice cattle back, but we copped it yesterday. Danny O'Brien's still not setting the world on fire out of the big stables, but he's grand final trainer. And one in the bush, I just thought was another one who's not setting the world on fire is G-Urel, because he's a good camp and everything, but they've got the lower stats. But anyway, Scoot. But no, I did back a winner into Cox the other week, and I wouldn't be scared to back one of them particularly fresh. So it just shows you just got to, I'm very opinionated, and I always said you never back them and things like that. But the trend is your friend. My wise old punter told me the trend is your friend. So it's a trend sport, and you've got to adjust when things change.
Tell you one that is battling a bit. Team Friedman, 0 from 50. Their last 50 runners in Metro Melbourne.
There you go.
25 started single fingers.
Yeah. Hey, what's that, Walt?
I literally asked him last week, I'm like, what's going on? And I said that they're the two stables I asked about. I was like, why is Danny O'Brien shades of his former self, and why there? And they said to me that they have there's been like a delay on them getting on the grass or something, training their horses. And he said it's only the last 6 weeks or something they've started to get the grass back. And he's like, watch our horses start to fly. And I know Friedman may be none for 50, but they're starting to show more. So
both are kind of starting to turn. Like they had Argentia run really well on Saturday, and like you can see with their good horses. And Danny O, that thing should have won yesterday. Yeah. Obviously, Consul Mav won the Rupert Clark. Young Werther ran really well. Inspirational Girl ran really well on the Turnbull. Like it's probably going to turn, but
the joints have been underwater. So that's Paddy Payne's had a same problem that the joint, everything's underwater, especially their home grass tracks and that. And when they take them away, they're still galloping on heavies and things like that. So I'd be interested in what Walt said. They should, and they are grand final trainers, O'Brien and Friedman. So, so keep an eye on them. They could improve.
It's interesting. Like people wanted to poo-poo D. O'Brien stats, and then next thing you know, Call Sign Mav wins, and I think T-Dog's even in that off air, or we're on air for about 6 hours. I don't know what happened last Saturday, but he did say that D. O'Brien's probably had a bit of an unluckier run than usual. He went back through his last 50 starts and could make cases for a few more winners. So don't anchor yourself to those last 50 starts. You just got to have a bit of a whiff and bit of a gut feel about what you've seen as well. I think it's
Jockeys
not just cut and dry.
Right? Jockeys are the same. You can't take last 50, and especially if they've ridden 4 or 5 winners, you got to have a quick look at them, haven't you?
Well, and it's when the circumstances sort of line up. You tipped that Eyewitness in the last race yesterday at Canterbury, and a jockey that you've been pretty negative on, I think, Kieran McAvoy. But now he finds the right circumstance where the horse is going to lead or go forward, and then it booted away and won by 3 or 4 lengths. Yeah,
and they're not jockeys that can't ride winners. Willie's the same. Like they're not can't. So you just got to be careful on certain horses. They get sleepy and stuff. But I just like Willie's a good example. He rides 1 or 2, but they're sort of horses that are won by default, and the ones that he needs to help a bit, he hasn't been helping it. So just picking on him because it's a name we've been talking about. But yeah, you've got to interrogate the stats a little bit because they can read both ways.
All right,
and you can take advantage of them both ways. If people start overplaying them, it's just as good.
Something that you don't have to dig too deep is our Masters Club. Very simple this. Entries close the night before Caulfield Cup and Everest Day. There's a little graphic on the screen. And it's basically $50 entry into our Masters Club, and you'll get the opportunity to win a $9,500 prize, Australian dollars. Trip of a lifetime, Augusta. Walt or John McLeod will be going after they complete the Caulfield Cup Everest Grand Final. And then some lucky punter out there who enters this competition and wins will also be joining one of those guys and me on over in the States. So tell you what, DK, trip away with Sans kids with all the lads.
DK bought a ticket.
I got no idea. I think he can. I think he's allowed to. He's not my family, so yeah, he can.
Imagine if the mug wins. The mug and Walt.
I wouldn't go. Swear to God.
I'd give my ticket to the mug, yeah.
I'd give it to his mum so that she could go and cook him breakfast every morning.
If someone out there wins it and doesn't want to go and you donate it to Mug, we'll live stream the 7 days with Mug and Walt or Johnny McLeod.
He never even replied the other day, did he? Did he not?
He brushed you.
Yeah, I feel that's even worse. That's actually the best reply he could have given.
You got to go in that one, so $50.
Maybe he's got the ban from the mum when he's called old mate a Colin Hunt.
Could have. Off the toasted sandwich thing. He's in good form. I'm in good form because I'm on the Manscaped too. 20% off using the code. It's only 11 weeks till Christmas. Spring and summer shave downs required. Walt does it in the bath by the look of his Twitter feed, and I think you bet faster after you shave down. So great Christmas gift there. So 20% off in Manscaped shop using the little code Little Birdie. So just type in our name Little Birdie BIRDIE and you'll get the discount there. So great stuff. Stay smooth. Today's show is going to be a beauty. Is Don is good. Tell you what, I did like his Gold Coast action. I know DK sort of half against his betting strategy. Fireburn come unstuck on that one, a bit yucky, but he did good to get himself off the canvas there, Donny. So I think he'll be better for the run.
He did a lot of good. He just you can see that he's raw on the betting side of things, and I'm saying he can't. You know what I mean? He's just not staking and things like he can find a winner. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, he's a very good judge. You'll be into the Silver Eagle program, the gloaming. Well, I'll tell you what, might be called off if the forecast is correct. It could be curtains, so bet very cautiously for Saturday's racing at Randwick. TopSport Steamers, top rank was their best result. Was a split div $6. It's probably the longest photo I've seen in my life in living memory, and I'm still not convinced of what I've seen that it was actually correct.
It didn't look good at all, really, did it?
No.
Like from what you could, from that the one they released, I assume they released it.
What do you boys think down there? I thought it was very, very whiffy.
I think from memory, I think they do struggle lining the grey horses up because
I think they have heart attack, don't they?
The pixelation and all that when they have to sort of line up all the pixels and that. Look, I've been up there in sort of at Pakenham actually when you shoot the camera that sort of films the whole race. The judges are right next to you in the photo finish, and look, the ones in Victoria, the way they sort of I've seen how they full on go through it after each race, and look, I'd be shocked down here if they got one wrong like that. I don't know how the systems are up there, but I'd be backing them in every time down here that it's right. But don't know about Sydney.
Surely it's the same technology, I would have thought, but I'm not sure either. Bet Doctor Lays of the Week, Dewey, we got it beat last time, so we're on a bit of a roll. I think we're going to take on Golden Mile in the Caulfield Guineas. Bit of an afterthought.
JP he said I'm not a betting man, but he said if I could put it in your terms, he said I would have taken $1 at the 600, and she just didn't let down. Like as in, well, she just didn't quicken. He said she was looking for 2 mile already, so not sure what to do with her at the moment.
Jury out with Dewey, but Golden Mile.
She looks Melbourne Cup only, I would have thought. Like she's got a task in the Caulfield Cup now with, meeting Smoke and Romans and a few others worse at the weights, only going up 400 metres and trip. I'd imagine she could still run well in that race. And, they're only setting her for one race, really, the Melbourne Cup. But, she's been a big drifter in the Caulfield Cup already. I'd imagine she starts, double figures if like $16. Like she's already 12, I think. So if you're a fan, you might be able to still stick with.
And you look at Montefilia as well. It looks like a couple of those, like they've come off soft runs in weight for ages, and maybe they got a bit itchy and pumped a bit too much work into them. It just looks like they've put a few too many miles in their legs, getting them ready for one race, like you're saying.
Fascinating seeing what happens there. We've got our Bet Doctor or Beat the Doctor promotion at TopSport, our sponsor, obviously. So check out the racing specials there, and you'll get a bet the best odds for Golden Mile to finish top 2 in the Guineas if you like it. TopSport are also betting to win $5,000 on all the Group 1, so make sure you stop betting at the imports and bet with the local Aussie-owned bookies and give them a crack. Nico, you're going to have a look at the Herbert Power as your first race, and that's race 5 on Saturday. We've got odds courtesy of TopSport, as I said, on the screen now, and the favourite here is Saracen Knight, $3.60, D. O'Brien, J. Carr, Desert Icon, Absolutely Airborne, $5. Persan, $8. Regal Line, $8. Mystery is $12. Point Nepean, $12. Shiraz, $12. Macram, $13. And then you've got horses like Grand Promenade at $21, and much better the others. Going to have a look at Persan here in the JRA Cup, running into about 3rd, I think, there in the black and lime.
Yeah, well, Desert Icon wins this race, and like the race is over from here. Persan just, when he had to be out building momentum and Desert Icon kind of took off, he was stuck in behind horses. I think the beaten margin was, 4 lengths? I reckon it probably should have been closer to 2, the way he sort of cuts him back in the straight. He was the fastest last 200 of this race. Gets out to 2,400 metres. now, third up or pretty much fourth up this preparation. I think he's just needed a few runs. Like that run at Flemington, he was disappointing, but he kind of come again through the line. It's much better there. Damien Lane stays aboard here. Really like the way he paraded last day. He really was moving like nice and loose and free in his action. So I'd be suggesting he's feeling very good, and that run would sort of back that up. Gets to 2,400 metres here. His last 2,400 metre Caulfield run, he ran third in the Caulfield Cup, beaten by Incentivize and Nonconformist. I know that's he's only had 4 or 5 runs since then, but it looks like he's been set for that race again. I think on Saturday, he's just going to have to be running well. I can't see him not running well on Saturday. Just the way the race sets up. Desert Icons are probably a little query out to 2,400. I was surprised he wasn't favourite with James McDonald going aboard. Of course, he was going to run in the Bart Cummings last week, and he was well on the market there. He just got scratched at the barrier for playing up. They put the barrier extension on there, so that might help him. I thought Persam was not a bad bet, sort of $6 all in, and now he's $8 in the actual market. So I'm glad I've kind of kept the powder dry there. I thought definitely back him the place. The place looks the best option, $2.70. You could sort of a 1x3 Benny Asghari special. I thought Persam. I think he just has to run a place.
Benny 2 bets. If I was going to Benny 2 bets, I don't mind an emissary or emissary or however you say that horse. I think if it's going to get to maybe a 5 or a 6 or not quite bottomless, maybe the heavy track board him unstuck last time. What did you think, Nico?
Yeah, I think he's definitely in the game. I think Regal Lion was a really good winner last day. He probably likes a bit of a platform compared to a few of these, but he is 4 compared to most of these that are, the favourite Saracen Knight is 8. I can't have the favourite Saracen Knight. I think he's the lay of the day. I really think this is a situation we're talking about before, a camp that's sort of easy to find in 2,400 metre races. Their stats are probably pretty good, and you get Jamie Carr, who's absolutely flying. And I think you're paying a bit of a tax for it here. I know he won the Ansett Classic last start, but he was dead set blessed. Like all the other runners that were a chance in the race were well behind him. Most of the jockeys were asleep at the wheel. He just had to catch the leader. He was made to look very good. Like 3 starts ago, he's beaten fair and square in a benchmark 78. I know he's had ability throughout his career. Maybe he's just a bit in the zone, this horse, but you could not be taking $3.40 or $3.80 here when he started $3.40 last start in the Ansett Classic, and this is a much tougher field. I know he's down in the weights and everything. He'll probably run well, but I'm hard against him.
Any thoughts, DK?
Oh, just Nico. Nico's strike rate and tipping Ma Eustace 2,400 and these sort of things. I think it's pretty high, isn't it, Nico? So
I thought you could back both of Ma Eustace. I thought Grand Promenade in that same race ran really well. He's just out way too wide. He's an on-pace horse, and they start last. He was in the widest part of the track. Like lane 1 was supposed to be, and he ended up in lane 9. Like just complete no man's land. He's $21 gets MZ.
Look at that. So there you go. Back them both. High percentage play.
There's a few angles there in that Bart coming in the Herbert Power, but I think the main angle's just taking on the favourite, getting beat, Saracen Knight.
Walt, anything?
No.
You just refused to comment.
It's too hard for me.
Caulfield Race 8 is the Guineas. Cracker, this one, Golden Mile's been $3.50 to $2.70 at TopSport. No scratchings there, so it's all legit. Berrickele Square or Berkeley Square or Barclay Square, whatever you want to call it. Everyone has no idea. Everyone calls it something different. $5. Tijuana, $8.50. Amenable, $15. Elliptical, $16. Meritus, $20. Mullane, $20. In from 26. Bankmore, one of Waltz, all 16 out to 21. Osipenko, another one of Waltz, $21. And then you got the fortune teller for G to San and bigger odds. The rest here, and we're just going to skip through a couple of replays. So I'll just let the tape roll, and Nico can tell us about these ones. The Golden Mile and Mullane first is in the Golden Rose. Maybe you can do the first one, and Nico can do the other races. Walt, you've reviewed this one, so you've got Golden Mile hitting the front there, and then you've got Mullane back in the ruck. He's sort of just one batting a bit. Zoo Tiger sort of kicks on, and then you got Jacquino, the Everest contender, is just absolutely roaring home here. Interesting, I think I said pre-Golden Rose that Golden Mile might be looking for the mile already, and he maybe gave the indication that he would, and I'm just a little bit worried about Golden Mile and his setup here. And Nico, Berrickele Square in the Lime again.
Yeah, this is a big win by Berkeley Square, sort of held up. Gets out late. The horse in the red to juniors in the Guineas, or Tijuana, whatever his name is, he's come out and won since this race. I did find it interesting. This horse in the Ma Eustace colours, Fast Witness, ran in the Golden Rose and got absolutely flogged, beaten 7-8 lengths. Maybe just didn't, maybe had an off day.
What was the SP? What was the SP there today?
I think he was 70-1.
70.
Yeah. So that's an interesting line, given that's your line. Golden Mile, sort of Berkeley Square. Gee, I don't like looking at those replays. Golden Mile, like I don't know how he didn't win the Rose. Honestly, like he had the perfect run. It looked over on the corner and he couldn't get past through Tiger. I don't know about you, DK, but I don't love backing horses, their last start that, relative to the meeting have run the 96 fastest last 200 and are going up and trip.
It happened to me yesterday.
It looks
That's why I binned that horse yesterday.
That's in a maiden, though.
And you said it had every possible, too.
This is in a Group 1. Like,
had every possible chance.
Watching the replay, like, how doesn't he run? How doesn't he get past through Tiger? That was the first time he's seen a fast run race. I think he's going to see a faster run race in the Guineas.
I don't think he'd be outside leader, though.
I'm questioning if he can run a strong mile. That will be my big question mark with him. And I'm sort of with, not that I've sort of talked to Scoot about it or anything before the race, but I'd be happy to take him on. I think if he's the bet doctor lay of the day, take on top 2, I don't think it's that bad a shout, to be honest.
Get the staggers late and get run over.
My concern was we're just going to watch Bankmore here in the white and the lambing colours, and then elliptical zoom home on the outside and the widest runner here. Yeah, maybe he just had enough. Golden Mile on the line there, and I just don't know if it was an end of prep run or not, but definitely looks crazy price at the $2.70 mark here. But Bankmore, this is a horse that you've always had time for, Walt, the winner. And the out of form Freeman Yarder got the fast finisher there.
Bit sad that Bankmore, he's drawn 27 and they've decided to ride it cold. I'm not sure what that does for that horse. I would have much rather see it sort of like that. I think it's a horse that needs to chime in and sustain a strong run. I don't know if it can out-sprint others in the race, but I think Elliptical's extraordinarily interesting in this race. Gate 1, change of rider, interesting. Obviously, Craig's got the choice which way he's gone or whatever he's done there. But I like Elliptical, and I wouldn't be letting. Well, I'm on Bankmore at silly odds, so just be careful about that because I don't think the last one I lobbed was Master O'Reilly beat Maldivian, and the only reason it won was because I was on Maldivian for 73 million, and it was like the shafting of backing a 100-to-1 winner. So anyway,
Amenable's an interesting one because Mick Price he doesn't really tell many fibs through the press, or what he says is usually accurate. And he's saying that Amenable is basically just out there for a look from what he said. He's got D. Oliver, barrier 14, and I think he's just going to let him
look in the Guineas. No one's going for a look around in the Guineas.
He never said that.
Oh.
I listened to him on the radio this morning.
Well, I listened to the stable report, and it sounded like he was just going to barely participate, and he's got D. Oliver on board. So
he's got a task from 14. Like, he's going to have to go back. He does get the blinkers on, though, and he brings in, like, the Prelude's nearly the DF, which is weird to say. Like, it's the lead-up, but they kind of just raced each other, the Prelude form. They come through the Moonee Valley race and went to the Prelude. They're hard to tie into the other form lines with, Tijuana and Berkeley Square and Golden Mile and co, which, you could probably tie all them in if you really wanted to. It was a weird run race, the Prelude, because half the jockeys come back and said it's like the hardest race they've ever rode in because they couldn't see, and sort of that he was out the back, charged the line around the fastest last 200 metres of the race. I thought he was probably the horse I could back in the race.
Well, the map's his issue. He said he'd like to have drawn 8 to give him a chance to be close to those 2 favourites. Now he's going to have to be conceding them a start, and that's why he's $16 and they're $4.
So Bailey's probably the one out of the Prelude. Like, I don't think he handled the wet track too well there, and he does get the map here. He draws barrier 4, gets Ethan Brown. Like, that's probably a positive at the moment. He could probably settle closer. So I thought at $34 you could do worse than having something on him. I think it's a very open Guineas. Wouldn't shock me if like Alkington Road won it at 34s either. Like, it's just one of those kind of races, I reckon, this year.
Yeah, you could say that.
If you're against the favourite, like dead set, anything can win it.
He said,
which one's favourite now, Berkeley or
Golden Mile?
$2.70 versus $5.
$2.70.
Yeah,
$2.70 to win.
Unreal.
That's insanity.
Oh, that's what.
And I think it was a much better run last start than it looked, but it's still insanity.
That's what we're finding with this with the bookies in their new regime is to put them up poison. Put those obvious up poison and get people who are doing all the recs are doing their multis and everything, get them in at rock bottom, and then
lay them short and then lay the rest late. It's Probably
Yeah.
actually very smart.
That's what they're doing. Yeah, they're doing it. It's been going on for weeks since the start of the car, still since August. But just quickly before you finish on Amenable, he said it's going to mature into a ripping autumn 3-year-old, and he's going to be a great Australian Guineas horse. So as long as he doesn't draw 14 or something there as well, but that's what people want to bet futures, and then they go things draw the car park. So
I bet futures in this race, 100 to 1 half cabin. That was my futures bet. 250 last Saturday, and then he comes out.
Cash
and
out.
that's opened a whole new listening again on the radio this morning on the way in a whole new can of worms. Well, not can of worms, with the bleeding rules and things like that. I think the Godolphin vet is there's things. Yeah, anyway, but that's for another.
You're all over it, DK, this morning.
Loves the wireless.
Stuck in traffic too long.
Stuck in traffic, yeah.
Real analog man, DK. Osipenko is a horse that's sort of in the abyss. Failed on the heavy 8 last time, but if you go through his good 4 form, and if it's still going to be maybe in the 5 or 6 range, where's it at, Walt? Your man Tim Clark gets the ride.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It's weird. It's had such a strange prep, obviously that downpour or whatever, but it still was like pretty plain, wasn't it? To be fair to the eye, it was pretty hard to forgive that blind on sort of what it did there. So jury's out, but it's another horse that could jump out of the ground. It's one of those races, and it's really weird. I think, yeah, it'd be in there with Bank more elliptical for me, and I'd probably chop on Berkeley because I think it's definitely top pick Berkeley.
And D Lane's jumped on to Meredith off Osipenko and then on to Meredith.
It's all too much, isn't it?
Well, I think it's a good starting point. Let's just take on the favourite and hopefully we can.
What do you think? Ostepenko, they're just trying to dodge wet tracks? I don't. They must. It must be because they scratched it from Sydney, took it down there. Obviously, it wasn't planned to do what like that rain just sort of arrived, didn't it? Like not long before that race, and it was running crazy conditions. It's just a weird race. It's probably too much for me.
You okay?
Yeah, just okay. I still come in. You've crushed me mentally, physically, emotionally.
I'd probably need $5 to back Golden Mile, so I'm going to just chip around a couple of roughies in that one. Let's talk about the Toorak. This is another one where probably I'm less inclined to take on the favourite here, but I wish I win. I think this will be pretty strongly supported. $2.70, Gentleman Roy $9, Tavalu or Tuvalu $9, Military Expert $9.50, Pinstripe $13, Uncle Burn or Bryn $13, Character $19, Halal $21, Law of Indices $21, Callsign Mav $26, Dallasan $26, and then $31 about Buffalo River Converge and others much, much bigger. Let's have a look at a couple of different replays here. And Nico, you can chat through all these. I wish I win, buried in the ruck.
Yeah, it's a big win, sort of getting through in the Moody nose roll there. This is the fastest. This is like the best benchmark lead up time on punting form coming through. He's run overall figure of 12.6 above here, which is pretty strong relative to Group 1 grade. But he's come home the 13th fastest last 200 of the meeting here on a speed where they went 9.5 lengths above. So they've done the hard work early. I think this is a really good platform run for him. That was 1,300. His first up run was 1,400. Now he gets out to the mile. Looks a big tick for him down in the weights. I couldn't imagine there's anything sort of wrong with him. This was the race he was going to be favourite in if he had got a start. This is the Rupert Clark, which was run on the wet conditions, so that's interesting. I wish I win's coming off a good 4, maybe even a 3 at Sandown. Looking at the times, these horses are coming off a heavy 8, heavy 9. The Rupert Clark, Coolside Mav, very good wet tracker, great win. Tuvolu, very tough on speed. He's going to be tough on speed again in the Guineas. Darlison was good poking through there late. There was sort of plenty happening there. And then this is the Sandown Stakes, which Gentleman Roy just got away with an absolute birthday out in front. Nothing sort of took him on. Slowly run race. Military Expert, game and defeat. Pinstripe just got a bit held up. Charges at him late. I think he's probably the horse to take out of this race, given the race shape probably wasn't run to suit him, and he had a bit of a task sort of reeling in the top 2. He's drawn just to follow I Wish I Win. He's drawn I Wish I Win's drawn 13. He's drawn 14. So you think MD's just going to get straight onto the back of Luke Nolan. I don't know. I tried to take a simplest sort of approach to this race. I think there's 3 legitimate Group 1 horses in this race on their day. I think I Wish I Win will be a Group 1 horse. I think Pinstripe's a Group 1 horse. And the other horse on his day does not deserve to be 30 to 1 if you can forgive 2 runs this prep is Converge. He did beat Animo fair and square over 1,600 metres last prep. Could find a good track, finds TC. I thought he was big odds at $31 if you can sort of say, well, he's not a wet tracker and he just didn't go in the first sort of 2 first up runs, third up, fit. I think he's probably in play if you're looking for something at odds that can run a place. But yeah, I thought I Wish I Win's pretty hard to beat. I thought he would come up a bit shorter, to be honest. I think if you can get 270, 280, maybe even $3 on the day, it's probably a price you could bet up with and then have, your saver pinstriped at 13s and maybe even something on Converge. Tavolo's in the game. He's definitely in the game from a place point of view if you're looking for exotics. But yeah, it's I Wish I Win's race to lose for sure.
Nico, you just had to go down one more number and one more saddlecloth. I thought you were all right. I thought you were going to say Dallasan.
He
said Converge.
Boyfriend.
What have you done?
He's your boyfriend.
I'll tell you what, he's ready to go.
He's had his chances. If Converge is 30s and he's 26, I know who I'd rather back.
I snuck up on the Toorak market last week when I thought Converge might be steering down there after dodging that, and it was not in one market anywhere in the country. Like, they're too good, aren't they? Like, they don't even have half the horses in the goddamn futures market. So you imagine if you rang up, you can have $6. Yeah, I agree. Wish I Win, seriously the one to beat, and but insanely short. Like, not a horse I could chime into at this price going up this much in grade. It beat nothing last start, even though it was highly impressive. And the old 1x44 Converge looks the play to me. If he finds a 4 or 5, look out.
So whose plays that? The 1x44.
That's the old Daisy, the trot man, the Queensland trot man, 1x44. It's a very good trot play. The old behind the leader if he gets out. Yeah, or the 44 the place. So I think he'll make a fool of his recent form if he finds some firm surface.
At the start of the week, it looked like Melbourne was going to be in this, soft 7 heavy sort of range. But again, this is a horse that can jump out of the ground, and so is a horse like Law of Indices. I think it's going a lot better than most people would imagine. It's got that good Queensland form, and I thought it ran out of its skin first up.
He hasn't found a race that he could win, had conditions to suit for so long. It's hard to remember if he's any good or not.
Well, no one knows yet.
No, since his first or second start, and even then he wasn't well set up. He's a bit of a punish.
And he gets J-Mac on Jay Allen. I don't think John Allen did much wrong last start, but he just couldn't get through the heavy. So I'd be playing outside the market here and just pray that I Wish I Win can find some traffic or some.
Well, it looks a horse potentially that can find traffic, isn't it? It's not one that gets up out of the way and makes its own luck to a certain degree. It just makes its own luck with a monster turn of foot so far. Talking of good trainers, isn't he a freak?
He'll beat Dallasan by a nose on the line.
Let's hope so.
Just to ruin my week.
And I hope, and it runs fourth, beaten nose. So that'd be beautiful.
Did anyone have any Might and Power thoughts? Saki v Animo v Walt's boyfriend, Alligator Blood. There's a few boyfriends in this one.
I was trying to not talk about it to not wind up DK. But
oh, good. I'm just pissed off. There's a distance queries, so yeah. And Animo might fall in now,
And that's right. Alligator Blood's not a big enough price to back it. If it was $10 again, I'd back it again. Zaki went well enough the other day to say, and it's going to be in the right spot to say that it can win. Animo, you want to pot the shit out of it, but it's going to lob in the right spot. And like you say, if Thunder hit the line last start, you'd be all over him, but he looks like he dead set won't run 2,000. So I think it's a nothing race.
Free bet, DK. Who are you going to spec? Free bet. I'll give you $300. Who do you back?
Zaki. Even though I'm not the biggest Zaki fan, but he'll just sustain good gallop, and Animo's going to have to get past him.
I think there's 2 opes again. Zaki and Alligator again. I agree.
But if Animo wins, everyone's going to be creaming themselves. He's won. He's going to be unbeaten. He's the biggest thing since.
And if he gets beat, they're going to go, broken down. It should never have run. It's just it's a hiding to nothing. The whole race is a putrid thing.
What do you guys make of the Hayes camp coming out and saying that Mr. Brightside was a bit soft and we're only training for the Cox Plate through the week? What do you make of that?
No, we called it. You asked about that horse. He was off that very, very soft. What race was it at Moonee Valley? A Fian.
Yep.
And that made him vulnerable in that race against those proper horses. So they said, Ben said that, and JD I've heard to say subsequent that really has tightened him up. He needed that battle-hardened run. So I still, I don't know, go and get those good horses, but they think he'll go a lot better than he did the other day.
This is the form line that I probably prefer looking at the Caulfield Cup. Can Benno just come out and stamp himself as the rightful Caulfield Cup favourite?
That's another fascinating angle to the race. Like non-conformist and Benno.
Yeah. There's more chance of Richie Benno coming back from the grave
He's only got to beat Smoking Romans. Like,
Mate,
it's not the strongest Caulfield
It's a pretty
Cup.
good horse, that Smoking Romans. I went back and watched. It's hard to knock it. It's hard to knock it. Like in hindsight, I've never found it, but it's hard to knock what it's done.
Yeah, I think going into Caulfield Cup Day, the horse that wins is Herbert Power, and if Benno and Nonconformists are running well here, I reckon the market will have a good look at him in the Caulfield Cup because they're just on the back up and maybe a bit fresher, good numbers potentially. Yeah, it's a big review meeting for that race.
No, this is the best part. It's Pike off, D-lane on, and then blinkers on.
No, but who's riding it in the Caulfield? Didn't they book someone for the Caulfield Cup? It was a really weird booking.
Reggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reggie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it.
So hang on, you've got it in this race, and then a 10-length class. What the heck is that book?
So what? D-lane off.
Reggie's booked to ride it in the Caulfield Cup. The weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Well, it's Everest Day as well, Caulfield Cup, and you need someone who can get the light. He's got a light weight, I think, of 54 or 53 and a half or something. So
you go on the old double negative. 2 camera shy beings, maybe equal winning.
Yeah, so Lane has to take the ride on Jacquino in the Everest.
Why wouldn't you?
Well,
I'd much rather be riding Jacquino in an Everest than Benno in a Caulfield
PVL's
Cup.
happy.
Why is that?
Well, he's got the star jockey up in Sydney.
What's with Giga Kick in the Everest? What is that? What is that?
It's the biggest
James
race.
Aaron, your mate, James Aaron.
I swear that old mate has just badgered him to death with his big teeth and his wrinkles, and he's just there going, and he's just like, mate, I'll put it in if you shut up. And that's
how
what's
doesn't
happened.
Private Eye have an Everest slot? That is the most baffling
Private
part
Eye
of the
over
race.
Giga Kick. It's just insanity. Like it's dead set. It's not a clear second pick, Private Eye, but it's definitely
in the race.
in between second and fifth or something. You know what I mean? Like it's probably lost and running second pick, and then Eduardo, and I reckon then Private Eye.
And him.
Mm.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're doing it to Giga Kick.
What? Doing what?
No,
Running it up
taking
there?
to, I wouldn't put.
Would he done a deal with Muns or something?
They reckon it was
the
just
owner.
dead set all Craig. Like hammered him and just was like, I guarantee you, like he was just so bullish.
Wow.
Yeah. It's hard to see, isn't it?
It's all doing deals and stuff, isn't it? And Muns has got unlimited, so
Yeah.
who knows?
What price Buenos Noches in the Everest? 4 billions?
Oh, the only angle that I could find in the Might and Power was probably if you like Benno, I think he's going to jump out of the ground and run a big race. But that scares the bejesus out of me that Regan's going to jump on.
Stand him out for 4th.
Hey?
Stand Benno out for 4th. Can you have an exactor at the 100? Anyway.
Super positive, super excited about this weekend's racing. Punting form, the best form guy in the business. The boys rattled off some stats. You can get all the sectional data so you can see the I Wish I Wins and all the different form lines and when Dallasan's going to peak and all that great stuff. And you can just absolutely put yourself into knots. So make sure you chime into puntingform.com.au and you can get as mad and twisted and grade up as us. We love it. Every week we
You
just...
don't have to bet in every race.
That's what you said. That's what you say.
You don't have to.
Patience. That was the big takeaway in Walt's promo video. And he just patiently sat there waiting for Private Eye. Went bang and it was lights out for poor old Mark Lambourne. Randwick this Saturday, Walt. In all seriousness, it's looking bottomless. There's a couple of different judges thinking that it's going to be called off if the forecast is correct. A question from the show. We don't really get many questions, but here's one. This is from Greg. He's a ripper bloke. He's a Little Birdie faithful member since day dot. He said, the best piece of advice I've ever heard is from Rob Waterhouse, who I believe has been the best form, he believes is the best form analyst ever, staking only 1/3 of your units on wet tracks unless it's an absolute swimmer. What do you think about that comment? Bet right down. So drop your
Hang on,
staking.
so unless it's a wet tracker, then you unload.
Well, then you can still bet. With,
Why are you backing so saying if it's a dry track on a wet track, back a 30 a bet? It's one of the strangest things I've ever heard.
well, Rob Waterhouse, you know him.
Rob would not tell you anything that he thinks you can get an advantage from. Let me just tell you, unless he was getting a bigger advantage from telling you that you're getting an advantage from it.
DK? Any merit to the question? Do you wish you...
Yeah, going on how wet it's been down here now. Man, I hate them. Hate them with a passion, those bog tracks. So, yeah, if it's mutter was a mutter and all that sort of business, but...
Betting on wet tracks is not bad, but I think the caper that DK and I try and drive ourselves mad at, it's very hard to sool other people into dodgy tracks because horses get beat 10 and you just look like a complete Gumby. And it wasn't, not to say it was a bad bet, it's just sometimes you get surfaces that are just, you don't know, no one knows. And it's a gamble. It's a bigger gamble.
Let's pretend that Randwick going to be on and preview a couple of races. Race 4 is the Roman Consul. Best of Bordeaux in the Abyss. This horse $2.70. Willinga Beast $5.50. Natuno $6. Shajardan $6.50. Sweet Ride $8. Celius. That's the Dons tip from Scone last start $11. Zuccarino $11 and Sholante is $31. Gonna have a look at the replay of Willinga Beast here. Walt last time.
So yeah, they went. This was the race that was a little bit down off the one before it. Actually, I thought its run the start before was even better. Where it in North Star Lass, it was a bit leaderish, but they sort of carved each other up on speed and ran really well. Stretched to 1400 here, and it's right there. Like pushed on to lead. It definitely wasn't as easy to lead this day. And right there with what's that 100 to go, it's a length off the lead. You got Zugotcha there, who's obviously won the flight stakes since. The Pretender Wolverine taking advantage of the horses down the outside. And yeah, Scoots Pretender, just a little jab there for you.
I took it on the chin.
You took it on the chin. You normally do. The yeah, I think its merit was hidden there. The start before was good. 1200 back to 1200. Blinkers on, and a soft draw. I think if they run, we'll get a similar, pretty on pace, hard to run on rail out track where you want to be up there, you want to be fit, and you want to be tough. And I think Willinga Beast ticks all those boxes.
So best of Bordeaux is where in life?
Well, it's 28 days off a virus of some sort. I think it had mucus present or something was the report at the time. 28 days off back to this sort of testing surface off any sort of that sort of, anything that's attacked your immune system and weakened you is not good for me. It's not a, no one believes in the pen jobs around here, but it's pretty close. Like I wouldn't take anything under double figures best of order, like not even close. So for it to be, I think there's no way it starts favourite, surely.
That'd be probably just thinking Coolmore stud stakes, just prep run for it.
I think they're just hoping that he bounces off it and they've got something to go to. I think it's a decent setback at this sort of time of its prep, and they've got nothing really else to run it in. I don't really know. And I think the other horse that's got the identical setup pretty much to the Willinga Beast is Sajardan. It was given a run first up pretty much out the back on a unsuitable race. They tried to put it into the race in the Rose the other day and ride it a bit closer over the 1400 second up, and wasn't too bad, just in behind them. Blinkers on back in trip gate 1. I think those two are your option, and clearly I think the others have all like 28 days. It's just such a fitness a boost, that 14 back to 12 as opposed to other horses that look like their max distance is 1200 and they're having 28 days off and things like that. And actually Donny's horse is the one that's a wild card, but how the hell can you back at 1,000 to 1,200 off a maiden at Goulburn or whatever? It's like, if it beats you, too good. I think Willinga Beast and Sajardan should be first and second favourite here, clearly.
So looking for those rock hard fit horses taking on this heavy 10 or
shouldn't be far off the speed too. Like these horses are going to have to pretty much run past them off worst fitness setups, and best of Bordeaux is the horse that I'm just taking on just off 28 days off a virus.
Nico?
Yeah, fascinating little race. The Godolphin horses win at Goulburn kind of had to be seen, just charging from the back. I know he was $1.90 and sort of everyone expected him to win, but that was enormous. Coming home in the best closing sectionals of the meeting on punting form. I don't know. I think they all feel a bit chewed up to me. None of them seem that good. It wouldn't surprise me if you get a horse that just jumps out of the ground like Celius or whatever his name is and just picks up the pieces here. It seems like that kind of race. I can see why Walt's tipping, Willinga Beast and Sajardan, because Willinga Beast probably is one that can kind of pick up the pieces if they overdo it out front, and she's just going to be there. But I think the one with the most upside is definitely the Godolphin horse, but it's just whether you want to sort of chime in at that price with a few sort of unknowns. Couldn't be back in best of Bordeaux, I wouldn't have thought.
That's the race for me. Best of Bordeaux is 40% of the market. It should be 5% of the market. That's why you got to bet.
He'd almost be a bet up below, but the field size is just so small that
just lay at top 7. What is there, 9 in it? 8. Top 7. Show some balls.
Top 7.
They do it on saggy bet or whatever it's called.
Randwick Race 8 is the Silver Eagle, $1 million Silver Eagle over 1,300 metres. Incredible prize money here. Mr. Mozart, $3.50 chance. And Star Tuntes, $8. One of my horses. Waterford, $8. Espiona, $9. Valana, $10. Brigantine, $11. Lavish Girl, $11. Lock Eagle, $12. Converge, $16. Kiss 16. Maurice's My Dad, $26. Cathell is $41, and everything's better than that. Mr. Mozart, we're going to have a look at first up. Talk us through this.
What's the most interesting thing about Mr. Mozart here today? Not this day, on Saturday.
Pike off.
Whoa, there it is.
Abdullah on.
He absolutely carved Mr. Mozart here. Just sort of back, forward, back, and the horse just kept coming. I just love that, especially off a first up run when they just, despite all adversity in the race, they just keep finding the line. And this horse is just like the definition of a professional. Draws absolutely ideally to cruise across from an outside draw. I think Abdullah's on it, isn't he?
Yep.
He's fine. He'll roll forward. I think the weights of this race is incredible for him. I'm assuming that, up on speed's going to be the go. So, and that wide draw, he can pretty much do whatever he wants to do from out there. I think, horses that are going well in this race, like horses like Lock Eagle that won at goddamn midweek in Sydney. There's so many horses in this race that are, look okay on paper, and you see he should be giving him 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 kilos, and he's meeting him at, set weight. So I think Mr. Mozart is entitled to be a pretty dominant horse to beat here. If Espiona beats you, you just shake your head and say, too good, Chris. And Star Tonte's, your pin-up horse is probably the danger.
Just grows a leg
well
in the
set
wet.
up. Yeah, well set up. Back to 1,300 should be strong. If you can run on if you can run on it's very hard to beat. If it's up on speed, Mr. Mozart gives a huge sight. They stand out for me, those two here.
I'd probably agree with nearly everything you say there.
Nearly.
$1 million barrier trial. That's what I sort of looked at this race as. They're all just going to the Golden Eagle. Like no one's the 10, isn't it 10 million or 7 million or something? The Golden Eagle, like
50 million. I heard.
There's a few here. I think that could match it with a horse like Mr. Mozart, like Valana, Lock Eagle. They haven't been that far off him. Brigantine looks like he's come back a better horse. It's just who's here ready to play on Saturday. I don't think Valana's ready to play first up and sort of a few of those things. I did think Ranchan could run a race at 50s. Coming out of the fast run Bill Ritchie or one of those races, same race as Top Ranked was in last week.
What about that'll help it if it's a heavy 13?
Tell me why the lead up to the Golden Eagle, which is run at Rose Hill, is run at Randwick. Why would they not run the lead up at Rose Hill? Anyway. They've moved the gloaming here as well. I just don't get it. It's a Rose Hill race too. It's very weird. Why is it not?
Well, the Everest never used to be on Caulfield Cup Day, did it?
Well, I think that could be a little bit of a plan too, do you think? Well, I don't even know why they'd want to chew Randwick up. Like the weather's always ordinary. Why would you want to run on Randwick 2 weeks in a row when you can just go Rose Hill this week? Have the Silver Eagle. It's just whatever. The common sense is brutal. It's tough, isn't it?
It'd be just incredible if it's a heavy 10 and they just chew the absolute crap out of this track, which is most likely going to happen.
Huge reason why there's a big chance the meeting won't run. But then what do they do with these other meetings? And again, like I know it's a silly argument and I'll get attacked for it, but just looking at the field sizes in race 1 and 2. So you got 20, you got 18 in the highway, first use of the track. Then you've got, what do you got, 12 or something in the midway. And then why are those races? Just can them now, move them to whenever, next Wednesday and try and save the track a little bit. I don't know. There's got to be a few options you could use here to try and save it a little bit for the following Saturday.
Do you reckon they even care? Do they care though?
What's that?
Do they care?
He cares about one meeting, old mate, and it's next Saturday. I know they moved the rail back from 8 to True, but I guess that's the only thing that'll help save the meeting. Because if it was a True rail and it was True the next week, this meeting would not be going ahead.
Nico?
The first is like Sydney's own Melbourne Cup, 23 runners they've got down there. 23. I think there's 5 emergencies.
Over a mile too, just chew the whole joint up first meet. It's just crazy. And no one loves highways more than me.
Yeah, it seems like, I don't know what that. If the play probably would have been to transfer it somewhere way earlier if they were going to do that. But everywhere's going to be underwater, isn't it? I don't know. Maybe it's just one of those situations. Can they move the rail out any further? They probably can't because there's a 20-horse field. They need to have
not now that they're out. No.
Bit of a pickle.
I'll be attacking that race with confidence if they run. Walt's found the best 2 wet trackers, and they are absolutely airborne. It's time for, if you want more of his analysis, racingwatch.com.au. As I said, he found that little $9 winner late at Canterbury. So he's just changed up a bit, and it's shorter, sharper, punchier, so it's easy to follow. So he's covering more tracks at the moment, Walt. So you saw it in the flesh last Saturday how smart this bloke is, so make sure you check that out. Let's talk Don's best. Last week, Fireburn got him.
A little bit sad here in the office after getting pipped on the post in the Masters betting stream. It was a great weekend of betting. I loved every moment and can't wait to do it again. Anyway, we'll move forward for Donny's best this weekend. We go to Eagle Farm. We'll start with the best bet. That comes up in race 7. It's called Extremist, horse number 9. It was very good first up. It dominated them at Eagle Farm. It was off the map, $3 into even money in the last 15 minutes. It tried like a rocket before that. I think it's a mare in form, and it's going to improve here second up for Heathcote. It'll either lead or take a sit in the first couple of pairs. At around the $7 mark, I think it's a great each-way bet. So that's race 7 Extremist. We go to race 5, Deer Trail. This horse looked like a stylish animal when winning first up at Noonan. It was a hot tempo that day. They went really hard, and it was the strongest late by a mile. So the step up 1,200 metres and the racing across the road at Eagle Farm shouldn't be an issue. The only slight concern is how far it gets back on the map and if they are able to swoop on the day. But at $4.20, I'm happy to take the risk that this thing is a nice horse moving forward. So the 2 best bets this weekend are race 7, Extremist, each way at around $7, and race 5, Deer Trail, around the $4.20 mark. Good luck, gentlemen, and Cote, Moral, Randwick race 2 if they run. See you, boys.
A little bit of an extra play there. Race 2, number 12, Cote, and Eagle Farm race 7, 9, and 5, 10 there. So Donny's doing a little bit of a mug there, giving us 3 tips instead of 2. But you saw how dangerous he was, so make sure you get on early there. TopSport Big Bets, these are early plays here. Randwick race 1, number 2 is Jalmari, $350 at $10 in this highway. Walt's just shaking his head, so that's the truth.
It looks like a drowned rat. The poor horse just looks like it's not come up, and I don't know. Danny's hasn't pulled a rabbit out of his hat for a while. He'd have to pull a decent one out to get in home.
The next one is race 3, and it's main stage. Race 3, number 7, main stage, $250 at 20.
Mad wet tracker, and if it's up on speed, it actually went okay the other day. Probably needed that run. It's not a silly bet.
This is the horse that's going to run second or third, beaten by I Wish I Win in a photo finish. 140 at 38.
Did they cut you, or was that the full stake you asked for?
That's to win 5.
Is that to what you wanted? Nice, good
Not
bet.
telling.
Good on you. Is that a Betty boost? Was it like 31 up to 38? Do you get the double boost?
If Dallasam wins the Toorak and I only win 5,000.
What happens to all those bonus bets that I had still in that account from Saturday 2 that I wasn't allowed to
They're still
cash
there.
up?
Don't worry, I haven't checked, but
I had it loaded. If Private Eye went down halfway down the thing, I was ready to press the bonus bet button, cash them in.
What they've fired the protest. Looks like this is an interesting one too. Race 10 at Morpheville over 10,050 metres. It's the Gov, $500 at $15. So Jacob Opperman on this one for Shane Cale. Might have to ask Beat the Bagman about this one. 15 into 11. Ex-Kiwi horse. Don't know, but it's got a bit of a whiff about it. That one. That's
serious.
It. What?
I'm never. Maybe next Saturday I'll have to look at goddamn Morpheville race 10 again. But holy crap!
I was a little bit surprised that I don't know if you're throwing off or not, but you nailed the race or you won the race. But being the last race of the day, everyone should have just done that race inside out.
Well, I did every other place but Adelaide because I hate it with a passion. And then I literally had 5, what was it? You gave me 7 minutes to do it. I went back and looked. The rail was cast, so I just penned every horse that was drawn inside, found anything with a bit of speed that was drawn wide and backed it. It wasn't really difficult. And something that, anything that was going half decent. I got back 2 runners and saved on 1 or something. That was it. It wasn't that difficult. Anyway.
I'm tipping you boys won't make that mistake next Saturday. It'll be the last at Adelaide. You'll do.
Did he bet anywhere else? I don't think he had a bet outside of Queensland, did he, old Scooby?
Yeah, he did. He bet in Adelaide.
What did he do?
He bet in the Adelaide race. Oh, I can't remember what he did. I was pretty fatigued by that stage.
He backed the winner in the last at Flemington, which helped him.
Yeah.
Mr. McLeod.
The thing that's favourite for the Derby, I think
Mr.
it's
Maestro.
called. Mr. Maestro.
Wasn't it heavily backed? Oh, that was the one mistake I made in the whole thing, was not backing it and saving on Major Bill. They looked the only two hopes, but geez, it was like, what was it, $5 or $6 in? It was well backed.
Yeah, it's like 5 to 350 or something.
That's DK territory. Is there anything in the Derby that you like early?
If it's
like
the Derby favourite.
progressive thing?
He's just going to wake up over
The price horses are out as of this morning.
On the-
Artsino Cadazio,
Is
is it?
Artsino out?
Yeah, out.
Oh.
Out. Going to the paddock.
Another futures bet cast for me.
No future in futures. I mean, especially these days where they bet you 2 bob. But it's not like the old days. But Artsino's gone to the paddock. He's just said they pulled up a bit jarry after that run, and he doesn't want, and they stretch him out to 2,500. Like it can stuff him, So they're coming back for the autumn. No, Derby, I don't know if that horse from Mildura, it went all right, and it's out of that same Maestro race, wasn't it? And then went to Mildura the other day. I said, good, this will be moral, get on there. But of course, it went up
Tell you what, if our thing had a one yesterday, he'd be a chance.
She's an Oaksville.
Classic or something, wouldn't he?
Who? Paris Affair?
Paris Affair.
She's Oaks. She's got to be Oaks if she can settle.
Yeah.
But
Is it a boy or a girl? I can't remember.
Philly.
Okay.
But that's like she's out of some relation to Shamrocker, who ran. She might have run second in an Oaks, I reckon, something like that. So that's why when I went really deep dived and said, here's Danny O'Brien's Oaksville in, we can back her in a maiden on a Wednesday, and that was good anyway. All right, but all my joints are underwater the next few days. Tatura, they might not even run there tomorrow. Echuca, so Manangatang. Now Manangatang's on now. They might run, so we might have a chance there. Manangatang Saturday. That is the epitome of out wide for DK out wide, so there might be a chance there.
They've already moved Kembla to Newcastle Saturday in Sydney, so they're already migrating north, trying to push everything north. I thought they might be bloody goddamn Randwick to Newcastle, so that takes that option out.
Can't add much more than that, but pray for racing in Randwick on Saturday.
Why?
Oh, let's pray they tear up the track then.
Yeah, there is a couple
plow
of decent races, but it's not much of a week to miss, to be fair. But
get your booty sleep and get ready for next weekend. It's going to be a ding-dong battle, the grand final stream next week. Got Nico back on...
Is it live from Victoria? Are they coming down? Walton coming down to see me?
Yeah. Are you going to be in studio?
Thursday.
I'll come in after there'll be maidens on somewhere.
Last half.
Come in. I'll be. If Walty, I'm coming in. I've got to come in and see my old China.
Oh,
Are you going to have a Maduri lemonade that night? Did he have a Maduri lemonade on his birthday, Scoot?
No,
I was doing 18,000 hours of form, mate. What do you
he
mean?
had a watermelon mocktail.
We literally
and barely
on
drunk
the Sunday. Yeah. On the Friday, I got up at like 4:30, stood up the whole day. Beck's like, "What do we want for dinner?" I'm like, too tired to eat. I think I had sausage or something, like a dead set cold sausage. It was a cracking. It was a cracking actual birthday, but Sunday was all right.
Anyway, I think that's the end of the show. Good luck on the weekend. Hope you find a winner. Make sure you hit the shops and support the boys, get their products. They're smarter than me and you back at home. And hopefully it's a fill up this Saturday at Caulfield. At least let's get a couple of these shorties beat. I'll be praying.
Where's Nico's next set coming from? Where's his next out wide?
Canberra.
I've done Canberra. That's my next set.
Peter
my
Harvey.
next set's Mornington today, but Canberra tomorrow. I've done the form for it as well.
3 states in 3 days. Very versatile.
Let's just put him on every day. Let's just lock him in the studio.
There's many things that his relationship could survive. I don't think going round the grounds is it. This will be interesting.
Enjoy it while you can and enjoy it while it's kid free. See you next week.